One of the biggest challenges I noticed since I started this YouTube channel is people reaching out to me and expressing their concern about their age and whether it's still worth investing at 50 or 60 years old. And basically the biggest driver of this concern is the fear that there isn't enough time to benefit from compound interest. While there is some truth to that, the answer to the question, is it too late to start investing, goes way beyond the factors that you might have in your mind right now. So in this video, I want to show you why starting late might not be as pointless as many people seem to think. But before we dive in, as always, the information in this video is not financial advice, and when you invest, your capital is at risk. So always do your own research before investing. Now, I'm not going to engage in pointless positivity and just tell you what you want to hear. Because let's be honest, if you're 60 and you're just getting started with investing, and let's say you're investing 20 or 30 pounds a month, it's really difficult to see anything meaningful out of that. In this particular case, your portfolio is not going to compound to something life-changing in the span of a decade. The reality of the matter is that for the first 10 to 20 years, the majority of your portfolio value is coming from your contributions and not from investment returns. Obviously, the only exception to that is if you are investing significant amounts every month. So if you're investing thousands every month, that's a different story. But for people who are investing modest amounts, usually you're not going to see anything magical until the third decade. But what I'm trying to achieve in this video is to help you separate the concept of this is not a miracle from the concept, this is not worth it. Two very different things. And despite these challenges that you might face as a mid-aged investor, I still think there are so many other reasons why it's really worth doing this anyways. And the first reason is you are probably not starting from zero anyways. I'm assuming you have probably been employed for most of your adult life. If that's the case, then you have probably contributed to your workplace pension for probably a few decades now. I know we don't seem to think of workplace pension as quote-unquote investments, and we only tend to consider active investing in things like a stocks and shares ISA as an investment, but the reality of the matter is that your workplace pension has probably been invested in the stock market for way longer than you think. And so the fact that you just opened a stocks and shares ISA and now you are investing 20 or 30 pounds a month does not mean that you're just starting to invest. You've actually been an investor for way longer than that. And that's why it's still worth it to become an active investor in something like a stocks and shares ISA or a SIP account. That way, you don't have as much pressure on you to end up with a high six figures portfolio in a matter of a decade, and you can treat that portfolio, that stocks and shares ISA or SIP portfolio, as a top up to your state pension and your main workplace pension. And by the way, on this point of is it too late to start investing, I know many people regret not starting in their 20s or 30s. And once again, I'm not going to be saying what I'm about to say just to coddle up to your feelings and tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to say this because it's the truth. It's completely pointless to beat yourself up about not starting 20 or 30 years ago. And that's for so many reasons. First of all, there was no awareness, there was no YouTube, and there was no personal finance content creators. Second of all, investing was not as accessible as it is today. There was no fintech apps that you can carry on your phone and where you can invest so easily without having to pay an arm and a leg in fees. For any decision we take in life, we usually take it based on the information we have today. And back then, investing in stock might have not been seen as the best thing to do. Back then, as if I'm speaking of the 1400s. Sorry if I've made you feel old, it's really not my intention. Now, this is another point about starting to invest at 40, 50 or 60 that's often not very considered. You see, the act of investing at a middle age has an impact way beyond than just yourself. I'm assuming if you are in your 40s or 50s, you probably have children. And this is the thing with investing. I think a lot of people don't appreciate how much of an effect it has on the people around you as well. Because now the simple act of just downloading an investing app and starting to invest is naturally going to raise the conversations in the household. You might mention it to your partner or to your kids, and that naturally creates a normalized environment to invest. And without doubt, this is something that naturally will create curiosity amongst your children. And you never know, now you might have given the chance to your kids to be exposed to this world, and now they might have a chance at starting at an early age and benefiting from the compounding effect. This is something that people don't consider. Investing does not have to be just about you. It's also about the people around you. Now, I started investing at around 23 years old, which was a few years ago. I'm 25 years old now. And when I dived deep into the world of investing and discovered how powerful it is, I just stupidly kept beating myself up for not starting when I was 18 or 19. I know, it's so stupid. Luckily, before that, I was a big saver. So when I started to invest, I had a very big lump sum to invest all at once. once. But the point is, now that I went through that and learned from that experience, I had the opportunity to pass along that knowledge to my younger brother, who now started investing at 19 years old. So he had the chance at doing what I wish I knew when I was 19. And this was before YouTube. And perhaps you now have the same chance at influencing someone in your family, a younger family member or a family member of the same age, to start investing the same way as you did. Anyways, now let's walk through a practical roadmap for someone who's in their 40s, 50s or 60s who's looking to start investing or is already starting to invest. The very first step, as I talked about earlier, is to audit your current pensions. I know if you've been in many jobs throughout your lifetime, you're probably going to have a lot of scattered old pensions that are everywhere. This is perhaps a good idea to compile them together, or at least know what each one is worth, so that way you have an idea of how much your pension pot is. And the reason why this is important is it will give you an idea of how much you should contribute when you start actively investing in something like a stocks and shares ISA or a SIP account. Otherwise, you're kind of like flying blind. Step number 2 is deciding on your investing strategy. This is an interesting one because oftentimes there is a misconception that if you're in your 40s or 50s, your portfolio should be predominantly towards safe assets. Stuff like cash, bonds, gilts, and so on. And quite frankly, it's far riskier to play it too safe, because the only way to have a better chance at having a more meaningful portfolio is to lean on growth. And it's certainly not too late to be invested in equities, aka stock market. Generally speaking, you don't need anything fancy or complex, just a well-established diversified ETF will do the trick. And by the way, if you're finding value in this video so far, would you be able to do me a very small favor, which is clicking the subscribe button below this video. It's a small act that helps me make even more videos for you, my friend. The next step is to pick a low-fee platform. Platforms like Trading212, Lightyear, or Invest Engine are generally good choices for low-fee investing. And once you pick the platform and the fund, you can now look into investing as much as you comfortably can into it every month. I've made so many other videos on this channel that go into the details of how you can actually invest into a platform. So for the deeper details, just go and check those out. And I'll leave one for you as an example right here.